Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, back with another sponsored Opera Omnia video. Thanks again to Square Enix for sponsoring this and many other Dissidia Opera Omnia videos. If you want to check out some of those other videos, be sure to check the playlist in the description, and if you like what you see, also be sure to check the download link in the description as well. For this video, we'll be taking a look at the recent Maria character event. No, not the Opera Maria, this is Maria from Final Fantasy II. The character herself is a ranged damage character who can utilize her bow to do big chunks of wind bravery damage or some AoE bravery plus HP damage. She's decent up against enemies weak to either wind or ranged weapons, but isn't an overall too impressive character on her own at the current time. Couple of things though, her proper shot does have the advantage of having 100% accuracy, so if there's any sort of annoying blind mechanic going on, she may prove useful there. And also her AoE bravery and HP damage that comes out of arrow rain is also accompanied by an AoE heal that maxes out at a certain percentage of your party's maximum health as well. So she does actually do some decent backup healing. It's especially useful in this event, so if you do have a 15 and 35 CP for her in this event, she should prove pretty useful. Before we talk about the event itself, let's discuss her event banner. Personally, another banner I wouldn't recommend splurging your gems on, unless you're like me and you desperately want Aiko's 35 CP weapon, which is the one major prize here. Irvine is a pretty low value pull from this banner, and Maria herself isn't anything too special at the moment either. Her 15 and 35 CP weapons do help her out quite a bit though, as her 15 CP weapon increases the power and turn rate of proper shot while also causing it to buff her max bravery and provide bravery regen on her turn. Her 35 CP boosts the HP recovery limit and turn rate of her arrow rain. The bravery portion of the attack is also buffed on single enemies with this weapon, and it even provides the party with a short 3-turn attack up. Having both of these helps her out if you are using her, but it's still not a banner I'd go crazy on. Definitely comes in handy for the event though. Now for the event itself, you'll probably find it to be slightly harder than Palom's event the week prior. The major boss of this event is the Spark Eye. Not only is this monster pretty beefy, but he loves spamming AoE bravery and bravery plus HP attacks. His main gimmick, however, is capacitance. As he loses HP, the Spark Eye will gradually summon more and more capacitance orbs around him. While it's not reflected in the buff and debuff bar, each one of these orbs strengthens the Spark Eye. The first orb he summons raises attack, and he'll usually do this either on the first turn on the high difficulties or near his first turn on the lower difficulties. The second orb raises his speed, and the third orb raises defense. Since you can't dispel or overwrite these buffs, bringing a debuffer simply to counteract these is something you should consider to help prevent some of his attacks from doing too much or from coming out too often. On the level 50 difficulty and under, you're likely to be unbothered by his attacks for the most part. Just watch out for when he does 2 AoE skills back to back. As you progress into the fight, it becomes more and more likely that when you see this, he will do Discharge for AoE bravery damage first, and then his next move will be Supercell, which does multi-hit AoE bravery damage and then split HP damage to the party at the end. Since it's split damage to the party, Maria and Aiko can out-heal the oncoming damage pretty reliably, but just mind your bravery if you see him attempting this. This is where lowering his speed helps out a lot. The multiplayer has you facing off against one Spark Eye and one Garuda, which is pretty negligible. The Garuda will fall down every time it is broken, and it'll just howl when it gets back up. So you can choose to just keep it on the ground the entire time, while focusing down the Spark Eye with your HP attacks instead. You may also choose to just remove the Garuda from the fight as quickly as possible. Either way, the Garuda is just there to make you waste turns, really. The Spark Eye is the same as described back in the level 50 version, just a higher level. Aiko, Kuja, 35 CP Saz, Maria, Irvine, they're all common choices for this fight. Just keep in mind that the Garuda is weak to ranged attacks, and the Spark Eye has a low resistance to ranged resist down, which is a debuff that Irvine can actually apply that will cause him to be weak to ranged attacks for the duration. The Spark Eye is also strong against water and lightning, while weak against earth and wind. So anyone who takes advantage of those weaknesses can perform decently in this fight. Summon wise, I definitely recommend a level 11 or above Sylph, since she charges quickly and gives you N wind during the summon itself. The AoE heal can also help mitigate any supercells you may have taken beforehand. The EX encounter for Maria's event will see you squaring off against 2 Spark Eyes, and that's after 4 waves of enemies. This should prove considerably harder than Palom's event prior, as having 2 enemies that love using AoEs can make using HP attacks overall a little bit awkward. I did manage to clear it after trying a few different comps. By the time I beat it, I ended up running Setzer, Aiko, and of course 35 CP Saz. I did have to throw some of my recently earned gems at the banner to actually grab Aiko's 35 CP to make the strategy work though, which I would have preferred saving for the Quistis banner. Saz and Aiko are there for pretty obvious reasons. Saz with his 35 CP just buffs everyone's attack to hell, and since they have lower range resistance, he also is pretty decent at bravery shaving. Aiko's HP regen especially came in handy for dealing with the occasional supercell or other HP attack. Setzer's the one where some people seem surprised, and I mostly ran him to allow me to more safely HP attack for a few turns early on to help Zerg the first eye down. Free Solid made it so taking breaks early meant very little, and Redcard's ability to force a turn delay happened to buy me some extra time as the fight went on. I definitely felt like having both of his weapons was mandatory for the strat to work, so I'd honestly search elsewhere if you lack these. For my assist, I went with Tidus, and it wasn't something that was really planned. I just kind of grabbed him from my list when I saw him because I didn't really see anything else that I wanted. It ended up coming in handy to debuff the eye halfway through the fight though. Honestly, if my Tidus personally had better artifacts, I might have considered him in place of Setzer for the event itself, just to use slashing attack to apply debuffs. Kuja can perform fairly well here, as can both of the affinity characters. I also chose to use Shiva as my summon. It may seem like an odd choice since the Spark Eyes are not weak to ice, but the increased speed that you get after every HP attack came massively in handy here. If speed isn't a problem for you though, Brothers might work since they are Earth element, but I don't know. I'm just going to go with what I know, which is Shiva. Honestly, the biggest problem was just how beefy these eyes are, and considering they like to spam AoE attacks back to back, it can just be super annoying to try and actually find the right time to deal with HP attacks. Smart breaks and smarter use of your HP attacks and skills is going to be pretty key here. And remember, this is a 5-wave battle, but thankfully the first 4 waves are really easy in this event. If you have Aiko, expect to use 1 charge of health regen somewhere before reaching the double Spark Eyes in wave 5. Now I need to go back and do it slightly better as I fell just 278 points short of the full reward. I just remembered that I didn't even remember to capture it. I only have the end screen here, I think, so sad face? And that's going to be a wrap for the Maria event in Dissidia Opera Omnia. Not looking forward to when her lost chapter comes around because I feel like it's going to be a disaster. Can't wait to see that one. Anyway, be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. And remember, if you enjoyed this, be sure to check the playlist and the download link in the description of the video for their respective purposes. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Until then, take care.